What's up, guys? And welcome back to the channel, man. Welcome back to our second YouTube video, just short sermon, devotional, something to give you guys some encouragement. Today I have the message titled Inward Seeking. So we're going to read some scriptures pertaining to this to kind of establish what inward seeking means. We will define it, and then we will give some opportunities to learn about what are the possible implications of what inward seeking can do for you and how it can help you in your daily life. So the scripture we are going to start in today is 1 Samuel 16. Essentially, I'll give a brief summary of what is going on in the scripture, and we'll look at a specific verse inside that scripture that is pointing towards what we're talking about when we say inward seeking. So Saul is no longer king over Israel. So God sends Samuel to find who's going to be the next king. He sends Samuel to this guy named Jesse's house. So Jesse has 7 sons. Well, he has 8 sons, but for right now he has 7 sons. Well, that's what we'll say. He has 7 sons that he's going to put before Samuel that are going to be, I guess, picked from to see who will be the next king. So Jesse sends each of his sons out one by one in front of Samuel. And over and over until he went through all 7. After all 7 of them had passed, the Lord said to Samuel, when each one of them passed, no, not this one, no, not this one, no, not this one. So Jesse is probably thinking, well, I thought you were supposed to pick one of my sons today to be the king of Israel. Samuel said, the Lord has not chosen these, in reference to the previous 7 sons that Jesse had given to him. So he asked Jesse, are these all the sons you have? So Jesse says, there's still the youngest. He is tending the sheep. So there's this young son that we haven't heard about that hasn't been introduced into the story yet. And they left him back to just tend to the flock, tend to the sheep, because clearly he wasn't fit to be the king. Hold on to that. Samuel said, send for him. We will not sit down until he arrives. This is in verse 11. Now we're on verse 12. So he sent for him and had him brought in. He was glowing with health and had a fine appearance and handsome features. Then the Lord said, rise and anoint him. This is the one. So, judging just from that story, it's difficult to understand why the Lord chose David. Why was David the chosen one when he was the youngest, probably the least fit for the job, the least experienced, I guess, quote unquote, the least wise out of all the sons? Why is he the one chosen? Well, let's go backwards and let's go to verse 7. It says, but the Lord said to Samuel, do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Oftentimes throughout the Bible, we see God using an ordinary person for an extraordinary thing. So how do we become ordinary people that possess extraordinary hearts? Inward seeking, or I guess you can call meditation, is the analysis of one's emotions, thoughts, and heart posture in order to understand their body as a functioning machine. When we're talking about inward seeking, we're talking about how can we identify when our heart begins to shift away from the Lord, when our mind begins to shift away from the Lord, when we begin to fall out of alignment. If we're not able to inward seek, if we're not able to see our internal spirit, our heart at a specific time, it's impossible for us to determine when we are falling outside of the purpose of God. So when we get to the story of David and Bathsheba, when he sees this woman bathing on the top from across his palace, when he sees her body, and we see him lust after her and send for her and end up sleeping with her, and eventually he ends up killing her husband because he can't deal with the fact that he would know that she's conceiving his kid. We see all these events unravel, and it's easy to say, well, look, David just made a decision in a time of weakness, and he just acted out of lust, and that's a one-time thing, and there we go. What I want to point out today is that all of our decisions that we make, all of our sinful patterns that we have, all of the one-time decisions that we make are a result of, and over time, a chronic heart posture problem, a chronic motivation problem, a chronic spirit problem. So when it comes to decisions like this, they develop over time because of our lack of awareness of our own heart posture. The reason that I bring the David story up is because it's something that we can learn from. We cannot fail to look at ourselves and to look at our actions on a daily basis and to evaluate our actions. Because it's oftentimes when we can evaluate our actions and our thoughts that we can start to begin to see maybe where God is trying to illuminate in our heart that needs to be changed to look more like Him. Our external circumstances and failures often reveal internal brokenness. The devil tries to distract us from our brokenness with the busyness of life. He wants us to chalk up our decisions as just mere coincidence. He wants us to cover up our tracks like David did and to kill everything in the path that may lead people to know how broken we really are. And this is an extremely dangerous thing, because the Bible calls us to be humble before the Lord. He calls us to come in humility before Him. Now, if we are running from things that we struggle with, if we're running from our brokenness, it prevents us from being completely humble before the Lord. Because then we allow our pride to take over and say, well, I'm doing X, Y, and Z correctly, so let's just put that to the side. When really God is wanting to illuminate that thing, because He's like, you are doing X, Y, and Z correctly, but let's do this, and I can push you into something even greater. As we close this out, I wanted to do kind of an exercise. It can be rhetorical, or you can put it in the comments if you feel like it. Think about a pattern of behavior that happens periodically, that you wouldn't say is habitual, like a habit, that you wouldn't say you do all the time, but rather it's something that happens here and there. And you know that it's something that you probably shouldn't be doing, but you are confused because it does happen periodically. I want you to try to think over the next few days or weeks, however long it takes you, to try to pinpoint what the root of that. Try to pinpoint maybe what it is inside your heart that is causing you to make that decision. That's causing you to say that to that person. That's causing you to fall into that temptation. Let's try to go within our hearts and to think deeper, not be distracted by the world, not push away the things, not run from the things that we're struggling with, but rather let's think about what we're struggling with and see how God is trying to speak with us to mend our heart to look more like Him. That's all I got for today, guys. Please leave a like, please subscribe, and if you found it to bless you, then share it with a friend. That'd be awesome. Once again, thank you guys. Have a blessed day and a blessed rest of your week. Bye.